Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Von Duprin number 1609. This is a strike that is used on exit devices. The 1609 is what's called a double door strike, and a 1609 is a surface-mounted strike that would apply to the face, the egress side of the inactive door. When you have a pair of doors and you're using a rim device on the active for egress, and you don't have the requirement of having an exit device on both doors, you're going to bolt the inactive door closed with flush bolts, but you still need to apply a surface strike to get that rim device to latch. And they're not uncommon at all, these 1609, or double doors, I should say, with surface strikes. And I generally find the reason that people do this sort of application with a surface strike is that it's cost, I think. It's less expensive to use a rim strike, a double door surface strike with a rim device, rather than to either equip both doors with vertical rod exit devices or the one door with a vertical rod exit device. I don't like the surface strike concept. I like it because it's inexpensive, and if that suits the client's requirements, then I'm an advocate for it. But if I was going to write a hardware set, I wouldn't use a surface strike, because you then have to add additional hardware to time the two doors closed. Should you have closers on both doors, you'll need a coordinator, because you can't have the active door close and then the inactive door try to close against it. So I don't care for that very much. Plus, it hangs into the opening, rendering it, in my opinion, less elegant. You could also have a situation where, you might have the pair of doors with just a split astragal, a bristle-style split astragal, and then you could, technically have access to Lloyd that latch bolt a little bit differently than you would otherwise when you have latch bolts that you can't get to because they're vertical rod. So despite the downsides of the surface strike, they are quite common. They're available actually in different finishes. The one you really are going to see all the time is just a black finish, but this can be done in architectural finishes. I think the only other finish I may have ever sold is satin chrome. So black is pretty much what you're going to bump into on this. That's just a piece of powder-coated zinc. Die-cast zinc would be my guess. It's not going to be brass, and it's not stainless. If it was stainless, it would be marginally magnetic, and this has no such property. So I'm going to say that this is an extremely expensive piece of die-cast zinc, is what it is. Screws will be included, like a combination-style screw for either a wood or a metal application. But when your client's looking to do it the least expensive way possible, and their occupancy, based on the quantity of people, do not require both doors be equipped with exit devices. And there's a formula. There's a quantity of people. There is a coefficient that's used as a result of the quantity of people, which will then tell you how much opening size you need to provide egress. And if that calculation comes to just one door, but you have a pair of doors, okay. I mean, it's cost, really. I would put surface vertical rods on both devices, and I would render the operation of the door less complex, less problematic. Also, what you'll find is someone could, if there were surface bolts on this door, and someone goes to push the inactive door closed, open, well, now you have, basically the strike on the inactive door pushing the active door open, stressing the rim exit device itself, stressing that out and open. You might consider a carry bar. If you looked up the term carry bar, you'll find it if you have the potential for pushing that inactive door closed. If you have the potential for pushing the inactive door open prior to activating the active door, at least install a carry bar. And what that does is that helps get that active door pushed out and out of the way, so that the latch is not going to really be serving as the point of force of getting that active door open. That's probably where I would look at that. So we've talked about that pretty clearly. Let's move on with the rest of the video. So let's take some dimensional properties of the 1609. The overall height of that strike is about 3 1/4. The overall width is about 1 7/8 inches, and that's going to have an offset from the face of the door that it's installed onto, and that would be typical because you do need to get, the latch bolt on the latch bolt of the exit device isn't hard on the face of the door. It projects off a little bit. Let's switch now to the screen view and take a closer look at some supporting documentation. Okay, here's the item that we are looking at. Image of what it typically looks like. Other finishes are listed here as well, at least currently. A plain verbal description of the item. I have covered, all of this information without realizing that it was here. Important note, this is not for use on fire-rated doors. Very important note. If you have a fire-rated door, the application of a surface strike along with a rim exit device is not compliant. So be mindful to navigate away from that. Now, there are some images down below that we can take a look at. What it looks like in the packaging, out of the packaging. The back side. This sort of ridged application would be appropriate if you had a piece of metal that had similar, a mounting plate, which is not included, but I would really like to see them have that included. And you'll find, I believe in a Von Duprin 299 strike, they will have that ability to be able to tailor the projection really nice. Now, what you do have to be mindful, however, is when you're installing this, is that it's going to require an understanding of your back set. So let's take a look at that language and see what we can come up with. And in order to see that, we're going to go to the template that I have here somewhere. And here it is. Now, this is a template representative of a 1609 strike for a 9899 vertical rod on the inactive door, and then a rim device on the active door. So what I'm saying is this is showing you where to place that strike for this application. If you're not using a 99 SVR by rim, don't use this template. They're saying a 3/4 inch back set from the edge of the door, and that's to refer to the edge of the door, not any sort of astragal that you may have applied. The edge of the door to the vertical center line of the elongated holes, 1024, okay? And then they're telling you that they want the exit device, the rim device, at a 2 3/8 back set. Although they appear to be referring to the center of the opening and not the edge of the door, which to me is, it's unusual, but they clearly indicate center line of opening. So take your gap between the two doors, divide it by 2, and then you're going to subtract that from 2 3/8, and that will be your dimension from the edge of the door to the center line of the head case of your device. Okay? So this takes that all away. Now, if you are doing a 22 device, now this is a 9899 series. Well, there's also a template for the 22 series as well, where you have a 22 series, or 22 rim on the active, and then a 2227 on the inactive. I would just use vertical rods on both and skip this. But the point I'm driving at is where you put the strike. Well, it depends on what your exit device hardware you're using. Turns out that the dimensions are the same for these applications, but nonetheless, you would not assume that that's correct. Okay, so then we have a link to the cut sheet, which is typical Von Duprin style, just shows you a line art drawing of what it looks like, and what it's used for. So requires a coordinator? Absolutely. It doesn't require a coordinator, but if both doors are going to have closers, you're going to need a coordinator. If both doors have closers, you probably want a coordinator. I would put a comma here and then add carry bar as well. So I've been talking up the carry bar, and let's take a look and see what a carry bar looks like. That would be, of course, Von Duprin's sister company, Ives, makes a carry bar. So when you look up the CB1 carry bar, CB1 from Ives, videos here talking about where it's used, that's what it looks like when the inactive door is opened. It will spring forward like that. Again, just helps to assist you getting that door, that active door open. Used when it is possible for the inactive door to be opened before the active door. That's when you use a carry bar. Showing the coordinator, and CB1 carry bar may be used with the coordinator. I'm not a fan of Ives part drawings. It's hard to distill these down to what they're talking about. But this would be the face of the inactive door here. All right, so your cut sheet here. There you go. Now, we've talked about where you're going to use it, when you're going to use it. Let's go back to the item that we're talking about here. There's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Von Duprin products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, which is here, as well as a link to the full product catalog, which is here. Other encyclopedic documents, such as template indexes, installation instructions, electrical options booklet, things of that nature. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, in conclusion, typical piece of hardware, just explaining where and why it's used. The name Von Duprin is quite synonymous with exit devices, literally synonymous, in the sense that they invented the product category. And on that manufacturer's page, we have posted there a video on the history of not only Von Duprin itself, but the little bit of discussion on the evolution of exit devices. Unfortunately, in our industry, evolution is sometimes very much driven by catastrophes, and there were several major fires that existed, Chicago, New York, and other places. Doors were swinging in the wrong direction, chains were used to keep employees from going out for a break, things of that nature. So the exit device evolved out of a reaction to all of that. But not only that, there were other catastrophes, 69 West Washington and Chicago, where you did not have access from the stairwell onto the floors, where you had a problem on this floor and you couldn't go above and below to get back onto a safe floor. And the exit device is just simply an evolution of responding to a catastrophe. One thing to be proud of about the hardware industry is how it seeks to render safe, society at large. Any questions on the 1609? Von Duprin exit device, strike, or any other Von Duprin product, please feel free to reach out to us. Some of the best technical support people in the world are at that Allegiant company, Von Duprin, LCN, Schlage, the other companies under Allegiant as well. So to them I say thank you very much. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.